Okay, so picking up on the power of getting in contact with our authentic self and centering ourselves and doing that through meditation. So let's get into, hopefully I've laid enough groundwork for the need and also of meditation, and also some of my experiences that qualified me to talk with some authority. I had to realize at some point that, hey, you really can't have much more authority than having reached, pardon me for a second, than having reached Nirvana, or at least what in the Buddhist tradition is called Nirvana. Now, interestingly, both times that happened for me, I intentionally took myself out of that state because my ego started saying, hey, you can't, you have a business, you can't, how are you going to do your business if you're in this, unless you reassume your personality, how are you going to, what about everyone that knows you for being this way and being that way, and so your mind starts to talk, you start to hear, have that communication, and then you will definitely come out of that state. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, but I made a conscious decision to try to move the incense. There's smoke going right in my. Anyway, I made a conscious decision to do that, and I don't know. It was the right decision. It's the one I made both times, which was that this is a awesome, incredible experience, but I need to shake myself out of it and come back into and let my ego, and that's, so I don't profess to live in that space. It's experiences that happened for me twice that enable me to always have that awareness, let's say in the background, if you will, but I'm still not personally at a place where I feel comfortable or have even tried to get there yet, because I'm not at a place where I feel comfortable being in that space 100% of the time. Not just when I say comfortable, where I feel that I can make a living and do different things that I need to do, because it just seems to me that, and again, this may be incorrect, I could be really cheating myself, just being real here, but it just seems to me that this society, this world, requires us to, American culture. Hey, you gotta go get it. You have to, be aggressive. You have to, and when I was in that place, I had no desire to do a lot of the things that my life was centered around, especially as it relates to making money and working and just being motivated. I was just only motivated to pretty much meditate. It's all I wanted to do, is meditate, man. I meditate and listen to great music, and so to me it seems to be a luxury for someone who's independently wealthy, and not just independently wealthy, but at a place where they can sustain that wealth without continuing to, and that could be wrong. I'm talking from my ego is definitely alive and well and present, but I maintain and have maintained since the time that I had the first experience, the awareness that will never leave me. I'm sure there were neurological changes that happen, as happens with every experience that we have, but especially the profound ones. And the most profound experiences that I've had really in my life were those two times that I reached those states of awareness. So I can definitely help someone with meditation, with the practice of meditation, and where you go is up to you and your journey and your path, and how deep into it, and how long you stay in that space, and how often you do it, and all that stuff. Sure, so that's up to you. But It really does just come down to, I think, uh, for me, I think one of the best things is to first, as I mentioned in the other video, really, I really do recommend The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, if you haven't already read it or listened to the audio, because it does an excellent job with you being able to understand this conceptually. That's important for me. My left brain, left analytical side, right creative side, my left brain is maybe a little overdeveloped even. My father, same way. And so, it's kind of what I've heard called, I don't think it was Eckhart, but someone has Deepak Chopra has a book that was entitled Prison of the Intellect. And I'm definitely, prisoner of the intellect. So I can't, so turning the mind off, if you will, or getting the mind to quiet, and that's what meditation really requires, is for you to be able to reduce the chatter in your head, the noise, the mental chatter, and to get it to a place where it's still enough for you to be able to hear the divine intelligence, or let's say the voice of God, or whatever your spiritual religious tradition is. You'll language it differently, but the point is for you to get to be able to hear. I'm sure in the Christian tradition and probably others, I think it's well known that God doesn't yell. It's he, or some would say she, or it, or whatever, universal intelligence, whatever you want to call it. That power, that force, presents in a whisper. It's not going to compete for attention with your thoughts about the latest television show, or what your laundry you need to do, or whatever it is that you're thinking about. Not going to compete. So it's up to you to quiet the mind so that you can hear that intuition, that voice, that which is always present. And so I just think that, especially for those who are like me, who are very analytical or whatnot, or just who have a lot of thoughts going on, I think The Power of Now is my best recommendation for something that helps you to conceptualize it, because that's important for me, to be able to understand it first. Then I can kind of get into doing it. It's difficult for me to do things that I don't intellectually understand why I'm doing it. And so that's my... Now, after doing that, it really does come down to picking out time where you can be undisturbed, where you definitely turn off all the phones and electronic devices. And for me, it's very helpful to have something, a nice fragrance, incense, or spray some nice air freshener, or whatever it is to get your environment smelling peaceful, smelling good, and then music. I find classical music to be just very enjoyable. It just really helps with putting the mind in a certain state. And there's all kinds of science about the brain waves, and what that we can go into maybe another time. Beta, delta, and these theta states. But the point is, and then just the main thing is not resisting the thoughts that come into your mind once you are still and you're comfortable. Very important to be comfortable. I like to have maybe a little cover or something over me. It's comforting in me. I don't know why. Probably because we sleep that way, and so or I like to also meditate in the tub a lot of times, in water. Water is very comfortable for me. Only challenge there is eventually the water will get cold, and so as you start meditating for lengths of time, as I enjoy doing now, But it's not about how much time you do it either. You know, it can be 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. The main thing is to not resist the thoughts that come into your head, but to just observe those thoughts. You see them, but don't interact with them. Treat them like a stranger who is just passing down the street. You see the person, but you're not likely to just go and interact with every stranger that passes by. Okay? Treat your thoughts that way. And because once you interact, now that's going to take the thought into an emotional, and you're going to make a decision. And you're going to have a feeling about it. It's going to go from the mind level to the gut level, and then now you're in a cycle of chewing on the thought, and so you have to break the attachment, to put some distance between your thought and yourself. Just observe the thoughts. And as you do that, at first it's not going to seem very productive. It's going to seem like you're not, what am I doing here? I'm just observing my thoughts. But you're doing something very profound. You're putting distance between yourself and your thoughts. And once you do that, even for one time, you have to admit that if you can observe your thought, then you can't be your thoughts, can you? And that is the beginning of freedom. Once you are detached from your thoughts, because so many of us really identify with our thoughts. We think that what we're thinking is us. We think that's our thought. We think we're attached to it, and that's why it has so much power and control over us. But once we detach and just become the witness and the observer of the thought, the thought will actually start to go away more and more quickly, because as I believe Eckhart Tolle teaches, I believe it's him that puts it this way, it cannot hold up under the light of consciousness that we're shining on it. We're literally shining the light of consciousness on this little thought, and it's going to scurry away. And that's the main discipline, the main practice to start off doing. And don't worry about how much time it takes. Do it. It's going to be a never-ending process, really. I don't know that there are many people, irrespective of how long they've been meditating, that never have a thought pop in their head that they don't, that is standing in the way of them having the highest meditative state possible. But one other thing is that, I remember one time many years ago, and I'm going to do something different with my hair now, so I'm kind of growing it out, but many years ago I was in high school, I had locks, they used to call them dreadlocks. Kind of went out of style, just call them locks now. It was the whole dreadful thing, negative connotations, but I didn't think my hair was actually locking until I went to take it out, and I noticed that it was actually locked, but at the root. And but at that point I was taking them out after having them for about a year. And similar with meditation, you may be sitting there feeling and thinking that nothing's really happening, or I'm really having a challenge with these thoughts that are coming through my head, and yeah, okay, I'm sitting here and I'm observing them, but I'm not making any progress. But when you come out of the meditation, you will notice that something has happened. I don't care how, just the fact that you were still for 5 minutes, trust me, you will have made progress, tremendous progress. So many people don't take any quiet, still time for themselves at all, and so this is just the beginning of the discipline.